Today, we are lucky to have the president of Franklin University here, Dr. David Decker. Many of you may not know, but our funeral home is located right up against their property. I look out my office at several of their offices. More importantly, they get to look at my offices, the back of them. I mentioned that I was good friends with Dr. Paul Otte for all the years that he was the president of the university, and I was talking with somebody that I'd never met, the new president of Franklin, and I found out he wasn't very new. When did you start at Franklin?
2007.
2007, so not new. But anyway, needless to say, I was introduced to him and spent a lunch learning all about Franklin University and what all they're doing, and was fascinated and invited him to come and speak to our Rotary Club and tell us what all Franklin's up to. Under Dr. Decker's leadership, Franklin has been busy executing an ambitious strategic plan that includes increasing the depth and breadth of its academic programs, expanding to new domestic locations, and establishing programs in emerging global markets. That part is pretty fascinating. Hopefully he talks about that today. Some of the significant strides that he's made include the maximum tenure re-accreditation granted by the Higher Learning Commission, educational partnerships with 9 academic institutions in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, alliances with more than 200 community colleges around the country, regional campuses in Beaver Creek, Ohio, and Indianapolis. Prior to coming to Franklin, Dr. Decker served as the Vice President for Global Academic Programs and the Dean of the School of Management at the New York Institute of Technology. Before NYIT, he was at Youngstown State, the Williamson College of Business Administration, and he has had faculty posts at universities teaching in China, Malaysia, Russia, Mexico, Spain, Germany, Brazil, and Jordan. He is fluent in Spanish and Portuguese and even speaks a little Russian. So I wonder if any of his presentation will be in a way we don't understand. He serves as president and chief executive, before the academic life that I just mentioned, he served as president and chief executive officer of a $130 million manufacturing company. So he's a native of Philadelphia, got his BA from Grinnell College, his MA and PhD from the University of Kansas, and his MBA from Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Help me welcome Dr. David Decker to Columbus Rotary.
Thank you very much, Mike, Tricia. It's a pleasure to be here. Jack, thank you so much for your hospitality. This wonderful introduction that I received from Mike reminds me of an occasion that I attended in Pittsburgh about 20 years ago when I was still in industry. Does anyone know what the Hibernian Club is? It's a social club for people of Irish descent, a very fine organization. And so in Pittsburgh, the Hibernian Club was very proud that they had attracted as a speaker for one of their events Anthony O'Reilly, who at that time was the CEO of Heinz, which is the huge multinational food company. And so I went to this event and dinner event. And Anthony O'Reilly was supposed to be speaking before the dinner because he had another engagement. And so we got there, and everyone had their cocktails, but Anthony Riley hadn't appeared. And so the master of ceremony said, well, he'll be here shortly, so we're going to go ahead and have dinner, and then we'll just listen to Mr. O'Reilly after dinner. And so everyone had their dinner, and after dinner, Mr. O'Reilly still hadn't appeared. So the master of ceremony said, everything's on track here, nobody worry, we're going to have our dessert, and after dessert, Mr. O'Reilly is going to be addressing us all. So everyone had their chocolate cake and their coffee, still no Mr. O'Reilly. So finally the MC gets up and he says, it's customary on occasions like this to say that our speaker tonight needs no introduction. And that's particularly true in this case, since the son of a gun didn't even show up. So you can say at least I showed up. Well, as you know, Franklin University has been around for a long time. Many of you probably drive past it or hear about it on the radio or see our billboards. But as Mike said in his remarks, sometimes you can see something every day and still not particularly know much about it unless the opportunity arises to learn more about it. And so I want to just give you a quick overview of our university. And before I do that, I want to just acknowledge the fact that we do have a number of people from Franklin here, as I think Tricia pointed out, including the chair of our Board of Trustees, Mary Ducci. Mary Ducci is the board chair of Franklin University. And I also want to send a shout out to a longtime board member of Franklin University, off the board now, but I think for a 20-year period or more was on the board of Franklin University, and a colleague of yours for many years, Scott Whitlock. Scott, thank you for all your service to Franklin. So Franklin was formed in 1902 downtown in the YMCA building, and it was formed originally as one of the YMCA schools of commerce. And those of you who've studied a little bit or know a little bit about higher education in the United States know that in the latter part of the 19th century, the YMCA undertook to establish what they called schools of commerce, which were schools that were designed to provide professional programs for working adults, for people who were employed, so that they could improve their skills and move up and so forth. And they were called YMCA Schools of Commerce. There were 19 of them established across the United States and Canada back in those days. Almost all of them have subsequently evolved into standalone autonomous institutions. Youngstown State University was a YMCA School of Commerce. Northeastern University in Boston was a YMCA School of Commerce, as well as the University of Michigan Law School, originated actually as a YMCA School of Commerce. So Franklin University was established for this purpose in the early part of the 20th century. And the idea that it had was to provide very high quality professional programs, accounting, bookkeeping in those days, and management related subjects. And in a real fundamental way, we're still engaged in the same process today, 110 years later, of providing very high quality academic, professionally oriented academic programs to employed adults who are seeking to rise in their organizations or add to their skill set. Obviously, the changes that have taken place over 110 years are pretty substantial. You see here that we serve about 10,000 students each year in all of our different places of work in all of our different programs. And we have, as our academic offerings, Bonnie, why don't you go ahead there? And I'm sure that you'll all be able to see all of these. So I'll just, I could have put anything up there, you know. I could have put the roster of the 1981 Yankees up there, and you wouldn't know the difference. Isn't that true? But I didn't do that. See, those are our actual academic programs. So, and you can see that we're organized into 3 colleges. We have the Ross School of Business Administration. We have the College of Health and Public Administration. We have the College of Arts, Sciences, and Technology, and then we have a separate institute called the International Institute for Innovative Instruction, and we have, I think, the representatives from all those schools here today. So we have, I think, about over 40 academic programs that we offer through these 3 colleges and our institute. And one of the distinctive features about Franklin University is that we are a practitioner-oriented university. And I think there are probably many people in this room who either attended Franklin or have relatives who attended Franklin or have employed people who attended Franklin. And I hope I'm right in saying that most of you would agree that graduates from Franklin University have been exposed to a very practical set of instructional materials and instructors that allows them to make direct contributions to their companies and organizations almost immediately. And we are able to maintain this level of up-to-date and current curricular materials and approaches by engaging the support of people like many of you in this room in what we call program advisory boards. Every one of our academic programs is supported by a group of practicing professionals from business and government who meet on a regular basis to provide our faculty with input about what is happening in those disciplines. So if we have a marketing program, we'll have a program advisory board consisting of practicing professionals in marketing who meet regularly with our faculty to help them understand what are the latest developments in marketing in industry and how our curriculum needs to change and adapt in order to reflect those and be right in line with what industry expects. I think we have over 250 members of our various program advisory boards, and if anyone of you is interested in pursuing this opportunity in your own discipline, I invite you to speak to Dr. Christopher Washington, our Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, who is with us here today. So let's get off the 1981 Yankees here, Bonnie. We have as well in Central Ohio about 20,000, more than 20,000 alumni who are employed and contributing to our economy and our society in Central Ohio. And I think that if you made a list of the organizations that our graduates work in, it would be a very familiar list. It would be Nationwide and Chase in the state of Ohio and Huntington, Cardinal Health and Worthington Industries and Battelle and Chemical Abstracts, and just literally hundreds and hundreds of prominent organizations in Central Ohio have many, many, many graduates of Franklin as contributors to them. So we have a strong contribution and position in Central Ohio, but I think most of you in your work have encountered the blunt reality that we live in a globalized environment. Everyone knows that. It's almost a cliche these days. But this globalization and the intersection of international forces has had its impact on higher education as well. And so our university is an internationally oriented university that interacts with opportunities outside the United States in many ways. Let me just give you a couple. We have, for example, in the Sultanate of Oman, which is on your map there, is in the Arabian Peninsula. We have, as we sit here today, 120 or 130 MBA students that are actively studying the Franklin University MBA in the Sultanate of Oman. In Saudi Arabia, we are teaching over 500 students, I think, right now online with our faculty members from here in classes in 4 or 5 different cities in Saudi Arabia. We have nurses that are enrolled in our nursing program in Seoul, Korea. We have Spanish language business administration programs being taken by students in Guatemala as we sit here today. We have partners in India, in Poland, in all the countries that you see up there. And we are not only offering our academic programs, we're also designing programs for other institutions. You know, we have, in the last 4 years, designed over 200 courses for Saudi Electronic University, which is the largest and the most prominent online English language university in the Arabian Peninsula, sponsored by the government of Saudi Arabia. Every course that is offered by Saudi Electronic University was designed in Columbus, Ohio by Franklin University specialists and installed and implemented by Saudi Electronic University with our assistance. We're now in the process of carrying forward similar projects with other institutions as well. Of course, you have to be engaged with the international environment, but we live in the United States, and so we have to also be very attentive to our own domestic environment. And in that respect, you see up here some of the locations in which Franklin University has established we call co-location offerings with community colleges. So if you look, you can see here, for example, with Southern State Community College in Washington Courthouse, we have a co-location where we offer our academic programs, our classes on the ground and online, but on the ground to students of those community colleges who take those classes in their community college campus. We have, I think, 16, is that right, Bill, at this point? 16 co-locations in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Indiana to offer our programs through community college partners. We have branch campuses as well in Beaver Creek, down in the Dayton area, and also suburban campuses here and in Indianapolis. So this array of offerings in the central part of the United States is backed up by the complete online offerings of all of our academic programs. Every single one of our academic programs is available completely online as well as face-to-face. We have been working as well on a new project called Franklin Works, a very exciting project in which we work together in collaboration with employers to design customized offerings for their employees that will raise the level of qualification, business qualification, professional qualification of their employees, and do so in a way that doesn't interfere with their regular duties. So we are very excited about the possibility of working with some of the largest employers in Central Ohio in our Franklin Works project. We have as well, as I mentioned, an institute, and I invite any of you who are interested to come and visit us anytime that you can find the time. We have the International Institute for Innovative Instruction is the largest concentration of doctorally qualified instructional design capacity in the central part of the United States and perhaps anywhere in the United States. We have, under the direction of its dean, Dr. Karen Miner-Romanoff, we have doctorally qualified instructional designers, we have content editors, we have the capacity to produce video productions for online classes. We've produced over 2,000 videos in that building in the last couple of years for our own courses and also for courses offered by universities in 2 or 3 different continents. We have the ability to offer customized training. We've sent our faculty members and our specialists to Saudi Arabia and offered on-the-ground training to Saudi Electronic University faculty in 3 different cities on 2 or 3 different occasions. Week-long training programs. We've provided training in Guatemala. We've provided training in Dubai and in India and other parts of the world as well. So we are very energetically engaged in using our academic talent and our instructional design capability to advance higher education in the United States and for our region. I want to give you, this is our curriculum design model. I could have said this is, the way the 1981 Yankees would score. You get a walk, and then you steal second, and then you get to third on a fielder's choice and score on a sacrifice fly, and it still counts the same as a home run. So that's how we do it, one step at a time. That's an inside baseball joke. Let's move on to our Blue Quill. Blue Quill is, you may not know this, but when you take an online course, you're doing so through a piece of software that is called a learning management system. And a learning management system is a big set of software that allows you to interact with the material that you're learning and with the instructors that are teaching you and with the other students who are taking the same class as you are in a way that replicates a classroom environment. And it replicates it closer and closer all the time using technology. So our learning management system, which we designed in Franklin University, called Blue Quill, is one of the most advanced that's available in the United States. Extremely interactive, extremely innovative, and offering capabilities to report about the achievement of learning outcomes that are very seldom found in other learning management systems. It's being used by other universities in the United States and in other countries right now as well under contract with Franklin. So there's another example of, if I may be so bold, the intellectual power of our faculty turning into commercial opportunities for the university to transform its academic offerings into a revenue stream to support our operations. And also, for those of you who are business and export inclined, you might see this as a service export when we provide our learning management system to universities outside the United States and receive payment for it. That is exactly the same as making shoes here and shipping them somewhere else and receiving payment for them. So it helps our balance of payments. It supports employment in Central Ohio, and it intensifies the intellectual interaction that produces new offerings. Let's talk for a few minutes about some of the partnerships that we have here in our immediate area. The Supreme Court of Ohio, for example, has a judicial college, the Ohio Judicial College, that provides educational offerings for judges, magistrates, and non-judicial court personnel all through the state. And it has a responsibility for offering these training programs statewide. We have been working with the Supreme Court of Ohio for a couple of years now to assist them in the development of these courses and in the deployment of these courses in an online environment, because those of you who are involved in these things will probably know that in today's world, the old corporate training world of having people all take a day off and come down to your conference that you have organized and then go away after the one-day conference, and that's your training activity. It still exists, but it is largely being supplanted by the use of online technological capability to provide training opportunities directly to individuals widely distributed geographically who are able to take advantage of that through things like online learning provided by Franklin-designed courses. So we have, I think, since we began working with Supreme Court of Ohio, more than 400 officers of the court served by, or 400 in the first year and 800 in year two, so 1,200 probation officers and judges and employees of the court system and of the justice system have gone through programs designed by Franklin and offered by the Supreme Court of Ohio Judicial College. We have also on our campus, if you come down to our campus, you'll see that we have a large number of people who look pretty young to be in college, and that's because they're not in college. They're freshmen at the Metropolitan Institute of Technology STEM High School that we have on our campus, which is a joint project of Battelle and Franklin University. Very exciting project. STEM, as you know, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics education at the high school level is one of the biggest trends in the United States today, and to have a partner like Battelle, I think, is a great thing for for Franklin, and we're happy to be working with them and having the kids on campus. And then finally, just as an example, we have our work with Nationwide, where we're doing many, many different projects. We're providing training in Java, the Java programming language. We've been doing that for some time. We've designed courses for the Sales Academy and for the Claims Management group as well we're working with. We have hundreds and hundreds of alumni employed by Nationwide and as current active students as well. So we have great relations with Nationwide. And then finally, this is a picture of the graduation ceremony in Wrocław, Poland, about 2 years ago, of the MBA group that we graduated there. And you see in the middle there, actually, the then chair of the board, Gary Flynn, who was there to celebrate the graduation of all these students from our MBA program in Wrocław, Poland. And this is just a way to remind ourselves, this picture, that this is what the whole university is working towards, the day when these students achieve what they've been working for so long and are able to take that forward as a credential and as a set of abilities that will enhance their lives and enrich their organizations and enrich the world. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to, I think I'm doing okay on time, okay? So thank you. If we have, okay, we have questions. Yes, sir.
Could Franklin set up learning systems for economical enough for small businesses to afford?
Well, we certainly have the ability to provide training courses for businesses of any size, and we have the ability to customize them as well. I think, though, if you look at our academic offerings, in many, many areas, you would find that our standard offerings are very, very well suited to the practicalities of small businesses. And when you talk about accounting and you talk about marketing and you talk about small business management and IT and all the functional areas, we, I think, are big contributors to the small business community, and we're happy to work with. In fact, we just had, I think, your organization came through, took a look at some of our capabilities in course design for training in that particular field. We're happy to work with all businesses of all size. Yes.
Yes, as someone that didn't know much about the university, first of all, it's incredibly impressive that all that you touch on the levels that you touch that. I could probably ask you about 100 questions, but one of them is, do we as Rotary have some type of a bridge to Franklin? Because you seem to do so many incredible things.
Well, thank you. And the question is there some bridge that Rotary members have to Franklin? And I'd say, first of all, we're an open-door institution. You know, you come and see Dr. Washington, our senior academic officer, or you walk into the Institute for Innovative Instruction and see Dean Minor Romanoff. Everyone is very open to conversations on all levels at all times. You know, we're grateful for the opportunity to interact with businesses and with other institutions in Columbus, because we always learn from each other when we do that. So we welcome all of you to come. You know, all you have to do is call my assistant, Bonnie McCann, if you want to take a tour of campus or see what we have, and we will organize it for you. Yes? And Wendell Seaborn is a regular member. I think Pat Kemmer also is a regular member, is with us. And Wendell Seaborn's on the faculty, and Pat's in charge of project management, strategic planning, and other things. So they're both available. Yes?
Years ago, there was a law school at Franklin. Do you still have it?
The law school that Franklin University had was sold to Capital University in the 1960s. So it's now the Capital University Law School. Very fine school. Wish we still had it. No. Disregard.
On your slide, reference to a nonprofit. I guess I had just a fuzzy perception that you were a for-profit school some time ago.
No, we are not. We are a 501c3 nonprofit institution, have been since 1902. Yes?
I have a question. Do you see a need in the community that you could be helpful for, that you need help with?
The question is, do I see a need in the community that Franklin could be helpful for, that the Rotary could help us be helpful? I think that's the general sense of it, which is a great question. And I would say, Dr. Washington, why don't you take a quick shot at that?
He gave me the floor, folks. There are high demand job areas right now. We know insurance is a hot area, not as sexy for college students, but nevertheless, high paying, wonderful careers in insurance. IT support, we could use a lot of assistance in that to fill jobs that are being outsourced to other countries. There's a lot of opportunity here to grow our own talent within the U.S. I think the Rotary could certainly help with that. Internships experiences for our students to come out to your workplaces and get applied practical experiences. This is certainly something that could be a benefit. Scholarship programs for young people. We love to be able to, again, grow our own talent. Some of them need more support than others. We'd love to have your support in that area. I could go on for days, Dr. Decker.
Yeah.
Adjuncts, faculty
Advisory
members,
boards,
advisory
yeah.
board members, we'd love to have you.
So is he our contact for all of that?
Well, Dr. Washington has a high level of energy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Decker, thank you, and thank all of your faculty and guests for coming today, sharing with us about Franklin, and also learning a little bit more about what we do here at Rotary. We'd like to give you this gift of donation to our Rotary International Foundation. It's just a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, for all of you who were interested in how Rotary could maybe get involved in scholarships and internships, follow Lori today. She's going to be having a very interesting topic on that, I think, after the meeting. So at this point, we will release you to go. Be a Rotarian all week long.